Hi, Ruben van Roon drum channel again. Today we're gonna do a very important lesson, but first, please subscribe to this great channel with a lot of more lessons. Check my page and my channel page and my Instagram, Ruben van Roon drum channel, my Facebook, Steve GADD Drumlesson group, and you see all my great lessons about Steve GADD and drumming in general. We're gonna talk about groove. And groove, that's a very abstract term. What is groove? And there's no explanation. It's magical, it's mystic. But there are certain points you can watch and learn about groove. And that is my analysis of Steve GADD and all the other great drummers, Taylor Hawkins, whoever in every style, John Bonham, Jeff Porcaro, every great groove drummer, James Gadson. When you play a groove, when you think about it, there are three parts that make a groove. That's the hi-hat, the snare, and the kick. Let's play this just the basic beat. I play a traditional grip, but you can also play this when you And for me, the secret in a groove is the backbeat. I'm a teacher at the University of Amsterdam on the pop department, and I met a lot of students, and they are specialized in playing pop, rock, electronic, indie, EMD music. And the backbeat is very important in that music style. You have to think about the length of the note. That's very abstract, because drums don't have an actual length. A saxophone player can play a note long. A guitar player can sustain the note. But we cannot sustain the note, only through our cymbals maybe. But when you play a snare drum, it's always a short note. But there is a difference between short and short. When Bonham plays a backbeat, he plays it very long. So I actually hear in his drumming, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, ba. And Roger Taylor of Queen has the same thing, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba. Then you see very clear that they throw their hand down and it stays down. So when Bonham plays a backbeat, it's like this. So everything is playing downwards. It's all downwards. So the difference between downwards and playing up, that's a very important thing. When you see the funk guys playing a backbeat, they play very up. So it's very snappy. So the secret for me behind groove playing is playing up. So there are exceptions, like John Bonham. He's such a natural talent in playing a groove, so he can play down. Roger Taylor, the same thing. He has an amazing rock groove. He's playing down. But most of the drummers are playing up, and that comes more from the jazz drumming. You have to be light, you have to play up. So your upstroke is the most important thing. This in combination with playing the sweet spot. The sweet spot is really the center of the drums. So you have the best sound out of your snare, and every hit you play is at the same place. So that's very difficult. I see a lot of my students playing every backbeat on a different place, so you have no control. So you see that I use a little bit of the whipping motion, a Muller technique, how you say it. So the impact of the backbeat is so incredible important. So when I'm drumming, I'm only focusing at the impact of my backbeat. That's not volume. That's no loud dynamics. You can play impact soft and you can play impact loud. But the impact is the most important thing. When you play a groove, you have to think of one thing. You don't have to think of what does the drummer think about my groove. No, you have to think about what does my keyboard player think about my groove, my guitar player. They think totally different about drumming than drummers do. Drummers are focusing on scales, on difficult fill-ins, on difficult things to play, but the only thing a singer cares, or a keyboard player cares, or a bass player cares is, can he groove? So why focus so much time on that difficult things? You have to focus on your groove. That makes you get some work, and that's make that people want to play with you. So that's a combination about groove and musicality, listening. That are the two most important things. You never see that on YouTube. It's only about rhythms, drum solos. Who cares if you can play a drum solo? Yeah, the three drummers in the hall watching you. But musicians don't care if you can play a drum solo. It's nice if you can do it maybe. But they care if you listen to the music and if you can play a groove. So start focusing on the groove. So follow my lessons. Yeah, man. If a boxer does like this, it has impact. But if he does this, immediately pull it back. The impact is much and much bigger. It's the same with drums. So, what are the good things to practice about a backbeat? Okay, well, that will surprise you maybe, but you go to the rudimental drumming. And not to be a rudimental drumming, so don't play rudiments like this. Very neat. No, you have to make it as if you are playing a concert. So in rudiments there are a lot of left hand accents. And your left hand and your right hand accent has to be at the same impact as your backbeat. So for me, a 7-stroke roll is great to practice because you're starting with your right hand, but you end with your left hand. Backbeat, if you are a right-handed drummer. That's your backbeat. So practice it as if you are playing your backbeat. Ho! Why I love this rudimental 7-stroke roll? Because it's in 3. It's the family of 3. It's in 60-note triplets or 32nd note triplets. It's how you see it. But if you play a double stroke in the world of 3, then you have to spread the notes a little bit. So you have to have much more control over your playing. And that's so good for practicing the backbeat. And try not to use bounces at all. So the double is not like this. But actually you play 2 singles. Out of your wrist. And what's very important is now you can watch how your dynamic range is happening. You know, soft is, I think, for me, 2 centimeters, 1 centimeter above my head. And loud is really this. So I have a very big range. You can hear that back in your playing. A lot of my students, soft is this. So then you have a very small dynamic range. So that makes rudimental drumming fun. Make music, you know. So the whole Wilcoxon book is music. A lot of people play it as an exercise. It's not an exercise. He's a great composer of music. Wilcoxon writes music tunes. So I play it out of my head, and the second part. What's great to practice for your backbeat are flams. Steve Gadd. Steve Gadd is only about flams. When he practices, he gonna put out a new rudimental book. I assure you, flams, flams and flams. And he has, for me, one of the greatest backbeats. And it's not only for me, that's why he plays on so much records. He is the perfect combination of being so musical, his musicality is so high, and the perfect backbeat. Yeah, man. Not the technical skills. That's great, you know. That's great that he can play all that very difficult thing. But why he got the gig, I think, is of his great timing and his great backbeat, but especially his musicality. So, I said that. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. So, flams. Then you have to have really a technical skill. So the accents of the flams, make them again as loud as possible, but the between notes in the flams, play them as soft as possible. So this is one of our favorites, is the flamma cue. So know the words, know which rudimental you play, the flamma cue. It's great to practice your backbeat because that left hand is really an accent. Oh! That's not what. I have seminars online of Mr. Steve Gadd, and he does all this kind of exercise, the Flammecue, to loosen up his wrist, he says always. But that is how you get control about your backbeat. Student yesterday asked me, but Ruben, you play very much with your finger on your stick, like this, you know. And but the first lesson I got, my teacher said that that's not good. Okay, the secret behind that, there is no good or bad. There are so many different ways to hold your stick. So find your own technique and get control over it. This is the way Steve Gadd plays it. He's not a very bad drummer, I think. A lot with his finger. He says, I don't know why. I think because that came out of he plays, is very classical trained, and he plays mallets. So this is how people who plays marimba hold their sticks. And your fulcrum, that's very important. What's your fulcrum is here, you know. So my fulcrum is not here, then you don't do that, but here. But if you have here a fulcrum, you have two fingers free. So it's not so important that they have no function. But that's a whole different story. But it's very important if you see me drum. So don't comment me about that. about that. So it starts with a flam tap. Know that that's a flam tap. So you can practice only a flam tap. And watch the dynamics and the sweet spot. It's solo number 13. It's whole in a 6/8. So what's very good for you, start practicing the 6/8 exercises out of that Wilcoxon book. Because that's all involved in 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the flam accents is the most famous rudimental exercise in 3. It's a triplet with a flam in the beginning. And then you go to the 60 notes, and that you can play the best in a double. So you can practice your double the best way. There's a 17 stroke roll in that exercise. It's amazing. Hey! So the secret is that you can play the soft notes really controlled, again, as playing a single note, a single stroke. And the slower you do it, the more difficult it is. It's amazing. A lot of my students play this at this tempo. And you hear something like this. You know, totally no control. So stop doing that. Go to the place where you have control. So this is all Wilcoxon number 13. Fool around with it. Make music, that's my suggestion on playing the groove. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Next time we're going to talk about the bass drum. So please subscribe to my channel and leave a comment. That would be great. Comments, but positive comments. Hey, come on guys, the world is enough with hate. Don't hate, be loved. That's the important thing. So write optimistic comments in these times. And I will answer all your questions and suggestions. And go to my Facebook page, Steve GADD Drumlesson group, with all my lessons. And also to my Instagram, Ruben van Roon drum channel. There are some clips about me playing, performing live with great artists. So check it all out and see you next time. Thank you so much.